All right, Coach Seb. Tough game. Just your thoughts on the match overall.
I thought it was a well balanced match. I think both teams were trying to figure each other out for long periods of the game. You know, what our players put into that game, the effort and the commitment, the desire, you know, was tremendous. And we just fell short today with the result. But I thought the performance was there. Obviously, you never want to lose a game, especially 1-0 at home. But I can't give the players enough compliments for their efforts tonight.
Awesome.
Seb, you've talked about how this season is going to be defined by a lot of fine margins, and tonight it was that one mistake in the back of just that heavy touch. Just how frustrating is that? I know Anna was just in here talking about how the team has worked on those moments of balls over top and just being able to clear those lines. Just how frustrating is that to lose the game on a moment like that you've practiced on?
I mean, you can't define Kylie's performance just off that one moment. She was phenomenal. She's playing against a really good forward in Bia, and probably every game she gets away with that touch. But unfortunately, it gets too far away. And yeah, they waited for that one moment and capitalized on it. So yeah, I guess it is frustrating to lose in that manner, but again, I'll go back to the performance. Like I thought, Kai was brilliant. I thought she stepped in. She got numerous passes, looking through the lines, and we shouldn't just think that one moment will determine her performance.
Luis.
Seb, good evening. Kansas City Current seemed to capitalize on a very good moment to secure the win. What do you think was the decisive factor in the ability to break through Orlando's defense today? Thank you.
It's their game model. It's what they play for. Is those transition moments. It's less than 3 passes, and before you know it, they're in behind. I think everyone can see that, yourselves included. And yeah, they took advantage of that one moment.
Go back row.
Seb, as defending champs, you have a target on your back. You're getting everybody's best shot. Is that an adaptability thing for the ladies, or is that just the way it goes sometimes?
Listen, I think we got to put everything into perspective, right? 3 years ago, this team was, the laughing stock of the league. And, last year we showed our ability to prove a lot of people wrong. Winning both Shield and Championship doesn't come easy. And so once you've achieved that, you earn respect around the league. Teams adapt to it. Even teams like Kansas, going to a back five and reducing the amount of space that you can play through. It's challenging, it's difficult, and we're going through those moments as together, myself included. It's unfamiliar for a lot of these players to have that target on your back and come away from last year as champions. So, listen, what I said to the players is it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and it's how you end the season. You've got to play the circumstances. You're there to win the championship, which is a mini tournament at the end. And so as long as we are in our stride towards the end of the year, we'll figure it out. But I think the players deserve some grace because it has been a quick turnaround from last year to this year. And yeah, teams are playing their best game against us. That's not to say that we can't go to another level. I think even tonight, I think we did extremely well. It just came down to that one moment, and yeah, we'll make sure that doesn't happen again, and we capitalise on some of the moments that Kansas gave us. I think we still got some good opportunities to score, but unfortunately, we didn't were able to put them on frame. So yeah, it's a work in progress, but again, it's making sure that the team is motivated, and they certainly are to do that.
Sean.
There were a few times tonight where the ball was sent long for Barbara Banda, and there was really little support, it seemed like, up front with her. She had to take 2 players on. Can you talk about how she handles those situations, and also how it looked like she was getting frustrated as the game went on, how you keep her from getting too frustrated in those moments?
Listen, we want to play. We want to play. Football. We want to use the team's press whilst also having that outlet with Barbara. And again, for her, she's recognizing when to transition and when to hold the ball up and get support from behind. Not everyone's as fast as her. So yeah, it's her adapting her game as well to allow other players to support. I think any forward who isn't scoring as many goals as they would like is going to get frustrated. But she shows it by the right way and the right actions. And I think as the game went on, she was continuously a threat. Those margins where the player slides and they just hit the ball or just get a touch on the ball, and another day, she might be winning a penalty or she's going straight to goal. But I think she continuously becomes a threat in multiple moments.
Back to Austin.
Seb, last 5 games, the team has been playing from behind and having to try and catch up in those moments. Obviously, teams are, we kind of mentioned, playing different, sitting back, defending a lot more. How much you kind of just prepare for those moments within the offense and trying to work through playing against a very tight and very back line, that's very far back, I guess.
Yeah, it's finding moments to be patient, finding moments when to deliver the ball. Even last week we played a great game against North Carolina, but weren't able to put the ball in the net. And so I think even tonight, the first, 7 minutes, we managed to create 2 really good opportunities. And if they go in, then it might change the outcome of the game. And so that's where we're at right now. We're getting these opportunities. We're getting in the final third. We're getting numerous crosses into the box. Now we need to just, put them in the back of the net. And that's been the biggest challenge for us, because last year there was a lot more space. So, teams were high pressing us a lot more often, and we were playing through, and, we were really dangerous in transition. Like you said, I think last couple of games they've played a back 5, lower engagement line, and so now we're having to adapt to that and still try and create good goal scoring opportunities. But the players are still working on it. We're working on it in training, and it is fine margins. It's I guess the consequences of winning the championship. There's not just us who are going through it. You can see in numerous leagues teams go through these moments, but we're still in a really good positive position this time in the year.
Just last one for me. Earlier in the season, you talked a lot about set pieces and making the most out of those moments. You had 7 tonight, weren't able to capitalize, but just continuing to work on those moments, knowing that you're going to be getting a lot of those dead ball opportunities, and just how important is that for you and your team, considering the way the games have been flowing the last couple?
Yeah, well, last week it helped us earn a valid point away at North Carolina. They can change the outcome of a game. So of course, we work on it. It's a moment in the game that we have to continuously work on, and because we are creating a lot of opportunities in those moments, both in free kicks and corners, and it has to be, the delivery has to be right, the runs have to be right, and you would have taken that today if it was a 1-0 victory off a set piece. Against teams like Kansas, they're not going to give you too many opportunities, and so we have to continue to capitalize on those moments if we get attacking set pieces.